So let's have a look at Aetherdrift spoilers. And look, like I said, mechanically, I think this set's really cool. Thematically, it does seem very jokey, which I think for a good point of comparison, if we go back to the Magic Spoiler homepage, and can I, are you gonna show me older sets? Aloes Thunder Junction and Mirrors at Call of Manor are both considered the worst offenders for sets that don't take themselves very seriously and seem very silly. Both of them are very, very much described as throw a hat on character sets, with Mirrors at Call of Mana throwing on like a detective fedora, and Outlaws of Thunder Junction being cowboy hats. And I will say, Thunder Junction is really bad about the cowboy hats. There we go. Archangel of Tithes, which I don't think is a new card. I think that's one that has been around for a little bit, but my internet is struggling to do the little card pop-up thing. I'm just opening a new tab. Oh no, my internet's really struggling. Hello. Just do a quick speed test. I wonder what is going on there. Steam's not downloading anything? Nope. Okay, let's do a quick check. Because Steam might be updating stuff on my computer in the living room. And that might be chugging along. But yeah, even while that's loading, Claim Jumper, that's a new one, but cowboy hat, cowboy hat, cowboy hat, cowboy hat, cowboy hat, cowboy hat, cowboy hat. It's very much they slapped a cowboy hat on every character. It's obviously not like every character, but like look at this. Look at this. It's pretty much every character. Without even getting into the fact that, you know, they're jumping on the new exploration of America theming, you know, the I'm trying to remember what's the term for it. There's a specific word for that era of exploration. I can't remember what it is. But exploring that without all the consequences of colonial exploration that I think are very important to be exploring in such a story. Because yeah, it's very strange to be taking that setting and then being like, but everyone was friends and there was nothing bad except they were trying to rob a bank, but it was in a fun way. And there are only a handful of characters that are, I guess, inspired by Native American, I was gonna say mythology, culture, I guess just the Native American lifestyle, particularly over that period. And there's absolutely no impact on them as a story in the story. It is a very similar thing with the Return to Ixalan, with the Caverns of Ixalan, where it was, yeah, I think they did a better job of taking inspiration from Mesoamerican culture and integrating it thematically and stylistically without it feeling one-dimensional and superficial. But there's very, very little. I think it's only in the multicolored legendaries that there's a couple. Oh god, there's more pages. I can't remember. Yeah, no, doesn't really matter. Not the point. But going back to Aetherdrift being like very unset. Ticket torches, so you got, it's meant to be gambling tickets or arcade tickets, right? It seems a little bit silly. I don't or admission tickets, regardless of whatever. I should probably explain. So Aetherdrift is kind of, people are describing it as a Mad Max set. I think probably better to say wacky races than Mad Max, but anyway, where it's set across three different planes, which we don't usually do for a set. It's usually like one plane per set, unless there's a story reason for it. And in this case, it's a multiversal race. So originally the race was, I think, only on Amonkhet. Forgive me, I don't remember. I haven't super read up the story, but it's Amonkhet and then two other planes that I don't remember the name of. And the race now goes through all three planes, which is like kind of cool. Okay, I get the novelty in that. Definitely feels very wacky races, but anyway. So that's where like a lot of the Egyptian mythology stuff will be coming up. So like Walking Sarcophagus, there's a bunch of zombie stuff because they didn't give mummies a separate type, but I think that's fine. But yeah, just having this racetrack next to the pyramids feels a bit weird to me. I don't know about you guys. Feels a bit weird to me. Yeah, it's a little bit weird, isn't it? Let me look up what the planes are. Either drift lanes. Is Amonkhet one of the ones that they've renamed Avishkar, which is previously Kaladesh? There's a whole article on why they renamed the plane in like real world, not in story reason, which to give the quick summary of it, because I'm sure most people don't really care to read the article, but back when they originally released Kaladesh, they did have consultants on, like cultural consultants to, give a bit of guidance. But yeah, something that they overlooked was the word Kala, which I'm going to read straight from the article here, can mean tomorrow or art, combined with Desh, which means home or country. But Kala, which they've got like phonetics here that are slightly different. So Kala for the word that they're using, and then Kala, well, I don't really understand the distinction, but I'm also not a linguist. But basically, it's kind of like in Japanese, where there's a couple of words where if you say it slightly differently, it means something very different. And Kala in a different context, different tone, means black, and usually with racist connotations rather than just using it as a color. So they renamed the plane in the real world, in our universe, for that reason. But then they also gave the in-universe reason of like there's a big political uprising, government's been overthrown, stuff like that. Which I think it's good to give it an in-universe reasoning that makes enough sense. But yeah, so it's Avishkar, Amonkhet, and Muruganda, which I think is the first time we've seen Muruganda. Yeah, so again, on principle, I don't hate the idea, but there is a card somewhere in here that is referencing the Akira slide, and I have mixed feelings about that. But let's have a look through, because I think a lot of the stuff will be fine, but there'll be some things like in if we go back out of Thunder Junction to Dustmorn, and there's Acrobatic Cheerleader right at the top. People really did not like this one. Did not like the idea of having a cheerleader, like a 1980s American horror movie cheerleader in Magic. And I don't disagree with that. I don't agree with the degree that people got annoyed about it, but I didn't disagree with people being upset about it. There were some other ones like the fears some people thought were a bit out there. I also kind of agree with people on particularly fear of abduction, where I feel like it is a little bit odd to have just your classic 1950s green alien in Magic. I do think that is a bit weird. And then there's some other ones like the phone, which Yep, I can also understand why people don't love that. I think most of the set is fine. I think particularly most of the toys as well. Like Living Phone is a bit of a standout, but I think most of the toys, like Split Skin Doll, I think is perfectly fine. Trapped in the Screen is another one that I understand people not really wanting contemporary technology in their fantasy card game. Even this kid that looks very 80s, you know, the fucking Star Lord headphones and all the colored wooden blocks to play with. Yeah, Identified Hardship, that's another one that like, yeah, but overall I think like the set's really cool. But I've also got to find the cards that I saw earlier. I didn't write them down. But stuff like this, which is a very direct reference to Mad Max, of the War Boys, particularly if you watch Fury Road, and there are multiple shots where it is exactly this of a war boy jumping over onto another vehicle with explosives to try and blow him up. And do I necessarily dislike that? No, I actually love the art for this card, but the reference that it's making, especially in the context of some punk guy driving a car because you see the steering wheel in his hand, I do find really weird. Mad Max and Gremlins. Hey, you know what? I'm all down for. To be fair, yeah, I would describe this more as a gremlin than a goblin personally. I see more gremlin in this than goblin, but gremlins are not as prominent of a creature type in Magic as goblins are. Something to find spin out. I love the art because I think it's really cool. But at the same time, I don't I don't love the implications for it. Of we've just got some futuristic vehicle going up in flames and this kind of cool techie looking bridge. Some stuff still like I think very fitting in Magic. Like a Chitin Gravestalker, which yeah looks pretty cool to me. Definitely looks like a bug warrior, and the vehicle debris around it doesn't look particularly futuristic. Like you could imagine this just being a regular carousel or chariot that had been blown up, which I think is pretty cool. Also, kind of want to put that in my insect deck, which I have not finished building, but is another one that I think goes more with the Dustmorn criticism of contemporary tech sort of feel in a fantasy context. Not that big on. This one's kind of riding the line for me personally of I don't necessarily mind some of the futuristic stuff. Like in Neon Dynasty Kamigawa, there's if I go back to Scryfall, we can do an advanced search and I'll find it pretty quick. So we'll do. It would be a creature. It was in. I'm not going to put color because I'm not entirely sure, but it was either blue or black. At most of these colors, and set was Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. I can't remember. Yeah, there we go. Search. There's I meant to put rat in there as well. Creature rat, and then just do Neo. Yeah, where you've got a rat on a light bike. I don't love that. The like I guess like sort of street punk rats I didn't mind that much. I actually really like the art for Keep a Wrecking Raid. These ones are fine. It's really just this one where they're on the bike, or there's a bunch of. We just changed that to vehicle. mech suit, high speed hover bike. Like the mech suits, I have a little bit less of an issue with. That's banned now. That's real. That was really good. I remember playing that in every fucking deck. Because we like have some similar stuff in the Magic Fantasy already that are a lot more clunky than this. Like if we go to set BRO, which Jovan, that was the pack that there are no vehicles in BRO. Artifacts, creature. Is it going to let me do that as one, or do I need to do it as two separate types? Yeah, I have to do it as two separate types. Hello. Creature. Artifact. And Brothers War. Okay, no comma when I do it that way. My bad. Where yeah, we kind of already have automatons that make sense in universe. They're still like monstrous machines, but they're a bit more fantasy. And I think it's just like the styling of the neon ones that maybe throw people off a little bit. But then going to Aetherdrift and it's like, yeah, okay, everyone's on a hover bike, or the Sky Ray's fine. Or yeah, I guess that's maybe a little too futuristic, but like really not that bad. But yeah, it's a ton of really, it doesn't feel very fantasy. Whereas at least Neon Dynasty still had that level of fantasy to it. That see, this is good. This to me still says fantasy. And I think because it's from, I'm trying to remember the name of the new plane, not Kaladesh, new Kaladesh, Avishkar. I'll get it ingrained in my head eventually. And a lot of the artifice from Avishkar has this really ornate design that gives it more of that fantasy spin rather than yeah, it just being a straight up, Pacific Rim match. But then yeah, mech. But yeah, then like stuff like this. No, don't give me the Tron light bikes in Magic, man. This one, I think the Gearhawks are fine because we've already had Gearhawks in Magic, and like I said, that fits in more with the Vishkasar design as well as just general Magic design. But then yeah, some stuff feels really fancy. I don't have an issue with roller skates, but yeah, a Vishkar. I think let me double check. A Vishkar, yeah. Yeah, so I'm trying to remember the one. This is also not organized very well. That is fucking awesome art. That's very cool. Yeah, because they're both taking inspiration from Indian culture, so that makes sense. Yeah, and stuff like this. This card is, I think, bonkers broken and might get banned in standard. Maybe. We'll see. But then yeah, stuff like this. This doesn't feel. Am I not getting the bigger one? Oh, it's a low res scan, that's why. Yeah. It's a little toy in a RC car. Like I'm not super keen on that. Yeah, this gets away with it of feeling very fantasy. Let me try and find the one that I saw earlier. Also, love me a good dinosaur. This is really cool. Like 3 mana for a 5/4 Anthem dinosaur is kind of fucking nuts. And I'm also building a dinosaur deck, so I've been building a lot of stuff. I've had the time. Okay, so new Mimeoplasm is also really cool. I love the art for this. Okay, I'm getting distracted. It was in blue and it was legendary. Also, yeah, okay. Mario Kart reference. I I don't like it. I don't like it. It just feels wrong. I think the design's really cool. I think the way that they adapted it is cool, but I think it's also maybe just too obvious. Like it's too obvious of a reference. Versus like there's some stuff in other sets that people are like, oh, that's a reference, and I've had to look it up and then understood. Okay, yeah, I get it. That's what that's referencing, but I wouldn't have noticed if it hadn't been pointed out. This one again is another one where I think the art is sick, but I don't love just having a motorbike, a Mad Max ass motorbike in Magic. Okay, let's find the blue legendary. Actually, you know what? This might be easy to do on Scryfall. What is the Aetherdrift set code? DFT. Creature and legendary and blue. Goes right out very much. Yeah, it was this one. This one specifically feels very much like an unset card. Which again, I like I said, I actually like the unsets, but I like the unsets being in their own little corner of Magic. In the same way that I like I liked, is not the case anymore, but I liked the Universes Beyond stuff being in its own little corner. Um, I really liked drafting the Lord of the Rings set, and even I've got some Lord of the Rings stuff in my decks because they still feel it's still fantasy. It feels adjacent enough to Magic that most of the stuff in there doesn't feel super jarring. But this is, yeah, these ones are fine, but it's just that I'm like, really, really. Also, yeah, 2 mana for a 0/8 octopus is interesting, very interesting. But yeah, anyway, that is my rant about Aetherdrift. I am actually very keen to play it as much as I am complaining about the theming. I just think, yeah, I don't like the theming, but mechanically, it looks like a fuck ton of fun. That being said, as much as I like a lot of the mechanics, like the new speed mechanic, where every time an opponent takes damage on your turn, I think it is. I need to actually look that up. You gain 1 speed to a maximum of 4. MGG speed mechanic. Come on, load, load, load. There you go. So you got to have something with start your engines to begin with, and then so that sets your speed to 1, and then every time after that, you can either trigger an ability to increase your speed, or there you go. Whenever one or more opponents lose life during your turn, if your speed is less than 4, increase your speed by 1. Only triggers once per turn. So then when your speed gets to the maximum of 4, cards have an additional ability, which is referred to as max speed, which I can. We go. Just text max speed. I don't know if that's how the search works. Max speed. Yeah, there you go. So your start your engines gets the speed mechanic going, and then a bonus once you've reached maximum speed, which I think is really cool. I just don't want that on all my cards. I don't want to be referring to getting to max speed. I think also all the lands with them are really cool. Like yeah, Amonkhet Raceway. Once you get to max speed, target creature gains haste until end of turn for no cost. I think that's really cool. I think that's going to be really fun. Vishkar, 3 mana and tap to discard a card and draw a card. Not bad. I don't think that's going to be that strong. Where was the other one that I saw? Is this one? Yeah, Murugano Raceway, max speed, add two colorless instead of one. That's that's pretty big. I just wish it didn't say max speed on it. And start your engines. Yeah, I don't like that. I think those are the only lands. Yeah, because it's only got three planes. So yeah, it's maybe I'm needlessly nitpicking, but whatever. I think it's a reasonable complaint. Anyway, I'm gonna pull up my water, and then we can queue into another game. And actually, I'll queue now. Take me like 2 seconds to pull up my water. Back in a sec.